Om Yogindraya Namastubhyam Tyagishwaraya Vai Namaha Bhumananda Swarupaya Shri Loknathaya Namo Namaha Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Deva Maheshwaraha Gurur Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Na Guru Radhikam, Na Guru Radhikam, Na Guru Radhikam, Guru Kripa Hi Kevalam, Guru Kripa Hi Kevalam, Guru Kripa Hi Kevalam. I think I have received a lot of requests regarding your deep desire and wish to learn more about Yama and Niyamas, which is very foundational to not only the discipline of yoga, but I think very foundational to life in its holistic totality. I have always been talking to you in recent past when I was talking about yoga, that the understanding with the majority of the people of the world today, including people in India, is that yoga is more to do with the physical asanas or maybe a few pranayamas. But all of it is related to fitness of the body, maybe. But precisely if you really try to understand what was the intention with which great rishis of the past in this land of Bharat, when they practiced those very techniques, when they walked the path of life, they must have experienced more or less the similar such things as we all normally go through, ups and downs. They must have gone through the same, problems of handling the mind and also the body, which with time starts to degenerate. It's a natural process. They must have had all the problems that we face today. I mean, they are mostly to be termed as human problems. But what they did is that they tried to do a very special kind of a research, not the kind of research which normally we do in today's world, which is mostly scientific in nature, where we use our technology, we use all kinds of devices, we use all kind of electronics in order to find out what exactly is happening to a human body or to the brain for that matter when we go through different kinds of emotions, different kinds of experiences, different kinds of states in the physical body, mental body, emotional body, intellectual body. All of it they are trying to figure out by using all kind of electronic devices and engineering methods. But the beauty of the great seers and sages of the past, they basically took their body as a laboratory. They took their mind as all the finest of the instruments that technology can ever develop to hone their attention, to focus their mind, to bring the dissipating energies of the mind with all kinds of thoughts into a kind of a laser beam-like concentrated power. And as they went through all of it, they found that as they could concentrate on any one particular object or whatever subject they wanted to know, It could be the sky, it could be the clouds, it could be the stars, it could be the galaxies, it could be earth, it could be the sun, it could be the moon, it could be the trees, it could be the earth, it could be the air, it could be the ether, it could be the light, it could be rivers, oceans, mountains, wherever they put their mind. And through the process of a deep concentration, one thing happened. And that was, they could penetrate through the veil of the outer cluster. They found that everything is enveloped with some kind of an outer sheath, an outer covering. As if everything is like, the reality is hidden with something covering on the top, and that is, according to the words of Vedanta, it's called Maya, the elusive potency by which human mind only can see the gross part of nature, the gross part of the body, the gross part of the mind, the gross part of the breathing, everything, the gross part, which is the material part. This much people of the world have been always getting into comfortably with ease, because that's the force of nature, to move out into the external world. But what was the beauty with the yogis of past of India is this, or not just past, I'm talking about the rishis. Even in recent times we have had great yogis who came to this earth plane and practiced all of those this great discipline, and then they found it absolutely it works. And they also found that it just doesn't only work, but also is the ultimate solution to all our human maladies, to all our human miseries, to all our human problems. Because at the end of the day, nobody wants to be drowned in all kinds of either kind of miseries which is coming from outside, or miseries that is generated inside, suffering from outside, suffering from inside. So nobody would be happy with that. So the discipline of yoga, as Rishi Patanjali begins the first sutra, is very, very profound and very significant. He talks about one word. He says, Atha, the first sutra of Patanjali Yoga Darshana, is Atha Yoga Anushasana. Now when he is ready to talk to his disciples, to his students, to those who want to learn what is yoga, and before he is taking them into different kind of methods, he is first talking about one thing which is foundational. So the first sutra, the first aphorism, or the first small, it's like a telegraphic code, very small, but vast in its significance and depth and profundity. So here we need to understand that what he talks about is Atha Yoga Anushasanam. That thereby what he's trying to mean is this: yoga is nothing but a pure discipline. It's nothing but a pure discipline. It's not about a religion. It's not about what we are all talking about, spirituality and all its, all kinds of stuff. No. He's very, very focused. In the first sutra itself, he is able to catch the attention of his students about one thing, and he's focusing on it. And what is that? Anusasana. That means don't ever forget that your life is happy provided your life is disciplined. You are unhappy if your life is indisciplined. It is not only the question of an individual discipline or indiscipline that brings about individual happiness and individual peace, and in the absence of discipline, individual suffering and pain. But just think about it. In a family also, if you look at it, if we just expand the individual into a few more, we have a family. Now in the family also, if you just see that if there is indiscipline in the family, can you have peace? Can you have happiness? Can you have wellness? Can you have health? All of it will be missing, because anywhere the discipline is not there, and when the life is very erratic, random, then what happens is you cannot really utilize the God-gifted talents, resource, potentials, energies that are all inbuilt into our system. And let us never forget, all these that I've just talked about, they are part of the manifestation of our innate divinity. It's a part of the manifestation of our innate divinity. The very fact that deep inside in the womb of our consciousness, we are inseparable from the universal reality. We are inseparable from the principle that governs this myriad of cosmoses and universes. So it's not that I am just, kind of an island somewhere, but I am part and parcel of this entire cosmic, beautiful symphony that is going on all the time. And this symphony is available to me, this beautiful melody and music, this Gita is available to be provided yoga anushasana, provided you understand that yoga is not just asanas and pranayamas. Yoga is not about physical fitness. Yoga is not about glamour and glitz. Yoga is precisely how we can bring about a holistic development about the life, not in parts, but in an integrated fashion. Because if I see the life, what do I see? I see that I have an internal and I have an external. And when I'm talking about the internal, yes, I have my mind, I have my intelligence, I have my emotions. And I know that my mind plays with me, I know I play with my mind, and I'm always bound by my thoughts, and all these thoughts are creating my words, my habits, my character, my destiny, everything is with it. So my point is this: when Patanjali Rishi is talking about yoga, he is not talking about asana with number of asanas that we do. As such, in Patanjali Yoga Darshana, you don't find any mention of asanas. You basically find one thing, that he wants us to find a seat. He wants us to find a seat. Asana is seat. He wants you to find a sitting posture that allows your body to be very dignified. In the sense, you are making your body sit in such a posture which gives you a firm, comfortable, easy stay, and your spine erect, and your whole body allowing the energy of the body to go in its own rhythm, thereby gradually, as you bring your mind and your body and your breath and all your emotions into a state of alignment with the universal forces of nature, the more your mind gradually comes to a kind of stillness, a new world opens up to you, unseen, unvisited, untapped. Many people who have had kind of erratic lifestyles, wrong lifestyles, they had all kinds of physical, mental and addictive behavioral patterns, and they suffered so much. And they tried so many different things of this today's world. But they found that when no medication worked, when no medication of the modern world worked, they found one thing: yoga worked. They found one thing, that yoga as a discipline worked. Because the suffering that was created by an individual was created out of the karma of the past, plus in this birth, he or she must have developed certain kind of habit, habitual thought patterns, habitual attitude to life, understanding, perceptions, beliefs, the way he talks, the way he gathers, the way he interprets, all of it. That's a kind of a thing by which gradually and gradually over a period of time, a person develops either a positive state of mind or a negative state of mind. Either a kind of a growth model where he or she is not only adding years to his age or her age, but also as he or she just grows from childhood to youth to a full-blown adult. This growth pattern is growing in consciousness, growing in understanding the larger perspective of life. That if I lead an indisciplined life, if I am not disciplined, it's at what time I'll get up in the morning, when am I going to have my bath, when am I going to have my a very small but yet regular regime of yoga practices, of asanas and pranayamas, bandhas and mudras. Now all of it, it is a part of the discipline. Atha yoga anusasanam. So yoga is discipline of your life. So you cannot expect that just because you do yoga, you should be happy in life. There is no guarantee. That's the reason foundationally he talks about the first in the second chapter of the Patanjali Yoga, when he talks about the sadhana as to what are the practices that we need to do in order to bring this discipline into our life, so that we realize what exactly is yoga. Not the superficial meaning which is being given all over the world today. Actual in-depth understanding of the reality of what yoga is and its profound impact on individual life, its profound impact in our brain, in our body, in our entire system, and how it directly affects my life, how it affects the life of all the individuals who are around me in my family to begin with. How am I developing my relationship to my spouses, to my children, to my parents, to my friends, to my colleagues? It's like a interrelation, everything in terms of trying to understand it from a deeper perspective of a holistic vision. And this holistic, this totality is yoga. And in order to bring that, a disciplined life is so important. And the first discipline that he talks of is Yama. Yama and Niyama. One is internal, the Yama, and the Niyama is external. Observances of certain niyamas. You need to do this. But before he talks about the external, he first talks about the internal, because true discipline begins with me first. And me first means this body, this mind, this emotion, these thoughts, this character, these habits. All of it needs to be disciplined, and this particular concept of disciplining, the first thing he talks about is Yama. And under the Yama, which is like a restraint, but it's not just a restraint, it's like more like Yaman means you are creating an environment inside of you with a profound acceptance of life. It's not that Yama, that means restraint, is something imposed upon you. It's not something that somebody is trying to force upon you. If it is something imposed and forced, it will not bring about that passion, that liking it. It has to come from within. So Yama is not an imposition of certain laws, imposition of certain do this kind of a thing. It's something which has to blossom from inside of you, and which is nothing but the expression of your acceptance of the fact that I need to discipline my inner environment. Because in an inner environment of positivity and light, of vidya instead of avidya, obviously I will not have so much stress. Obviously, I will not have such anxiety attacks. Obviously, my mind will be more under my control than controlling me all the time. And obviously, this gradually takes me into what I would call as integral yoga, where I am trying to put the parts of me into an integral process. My body is a part, my mind is a part, my intelligence is a part, my breath is a part, my emotions are a part. All these parts I need to integrate. That means there's a need for harmonizing it. That this need for harmonizing is very important, because if you have harmonic vibrations inside of you, if your body emits harmonic vibrations of light, just imagine, when your body, your mind, your emotions are all positively oriented, and you are so disciplined in your life that your thoughts and your behavior and your beliefs and your words, your actions, your deeds are all reflecting the inner vibe of sheer tuning with the universe and the rhythm of the universe. When it's happening, what will happen? You will be generating such positive, beautiful vibes inside of you. And as a result, what will happen? And you won't be able to contain it inside of you. Whatever you generate in your brain, even if a small thought comes into your brain, it spills over to the universe. We have discussed it time and again, that anything that happens inside of me, it spills over. You can't contain it within you. And when it spills over, it just doesn't spill over. It also connects to similar such vibration, similar such energy, similar such frequencies. Each of our thoughts, each of our emotions, each of our feelings have their own energy. Each of this energy have their own vibrations. And each of these vibrations has their own frequencies. So we need to be very, very clear in understanding that if I want to be happy in life, I must gift myself first the permission and set my intention that I need to discipline my life first. Because if I have a disciplined life, and I know when to wake up and when to go to bed, and during the time when I am in wakeful state, till I once again go to bed, how am I going to function moment to moment, minute to minute, hour to hour, until such time again after a whole day's job done, I'm ready to once again retire to bed. And when I retire to bed, I go to bed with so much peace in my mind that I simply offer myself to go into the state of deep sleep, so that my whole body can be once again restored to a regenerative process instead of degeneration, so that my sleep can regenerate and create more immunity in my body and more strength in my mind, more vitality to my force of the body. And as a result, I can function much better the next day that I wake up. And not that I wake up with a hangover that possibly I didn't rest well. Most of the people in the world today suffer from kind of insomnia. This is a kind of lack of proper enough sleep or rest. by which your body, your mind, your brain cells, all of it could be really given a thorough maintenance work, a thorough restoration process, a thorough regenerative process. In order to give that, you have to follow the path as prescribed by those who experimented with those techniques, those methods, those pathways in which they walked, and they found it has tremendous impact on what? On our body, on our mind, and every stage. So the discipline of yoga, the first thing is that Yama, and in Yama, let us understand, it is not superimposed on us, it is not by force somebody is trying to, if it happens like that, it will last for a few days, all your practice of yoga, after that again you are back to your own old ruts. But if it comes from within, as a matter of your inner acceptance of the fact that the prime responsibility to be happy in life, healthy in life, well in life, you need to have a regime of wellness, happiness, and peace. You cannot do the entire of all of this and yet expect and dream and desire that you can have a happy, healthy, wellness life. That's not a possibility. So anything that we are desiring, anything that we are dreaming for, we must make sure our actions correlate to that. Our actions go with it. So there, my one thing that I want to really make it very clear, Yama is not imposed. Yama has to come from inside of us. And this Yama is nothing but inner discipline of certain vows that I will be walking the path of life with these principles. One of the first principles that he talks about in Yama is Ahimsa. Ahimsa. We know very well, all of us we know very well. Himsa is violence. And now, this one word violence is so broad in its spectrum that you take hours and hours and hours on to speak about it, because there are different shades and colors of this one particular thing that we are talking about, violence. The different things that can happen under this particular term, violence, because the violence can be mental, emotional, physical, intellectual, say what, there is no end to it. Non-violence, that means this is a vow. You are basically taking a vow. Why are you taking a vow? You are taking a vow because you want to discipline your life. If you want to discipline your life, you have to practice Ahimsa. Now, if I take the vow to practice Ahimsa, then a lot of questions will come to me. And one of the questions that will come to me is that the first thing that Ahimsa is Kaya, Manas, and Vachak. That means by your actions, by your deeds, by your words, your thoughts, words, and deeds. Your thoughts, words, and deeds. By your thoughts, by your words, by your deeds, do not hurt others. By your thought, by your deeds, you have to be always so alive, so awake, so mindful that no one else gets hurt anyway, and that way you are assured that this is not going to come back to you, because the law of this universe operates in such a manner that willingly or unwillingly, if I cause pain to somebody, today or tomorrow somebody will cause pain to me. Today, if I am unconsciously, because I am in an indisciplined state of my lifestyle, if I commit some mistakes and thereby hurt or cause any kind of violence to any of the people whom I am meeting, or the environment in its totality, all animal species of life, all the vegetation species of life, the whole universe in its totality. The moment I become so alive to the need for being non-violent, not hurting, what am I doing? I'm trying to be absolutely safe and secured inside of me from one important law of life, and that is, as I sow, so I reap. If I sow the seeds of violence today, tomorrow the outcome would only be violence will come back to me. At this moment, it may not bear fruit. There are people who are very violent, but at this time, they may not be, in the eyes of others, punished enough. But you can be rest assured, nobody can escape the law of cause and effects. No one can do it. So, anybody who lives in this life, today or tomorrow, as they gradually go through the life's process and become more and more matured, they will try to be very careful with their words. They will be so careful with their words, and that's the reason they will be mindfully communicating. Should I say this? If I say this, what are the benefits I'm going to get this? Yes, I know what I'm going to say is truth. But if this truth brings about a lot of suffering in this entire atmosphere, and out of that, the peace is lost, what am I going to get out of it? Because at the end of the day, I have to handle these cases. So the very way and the way I express my words, the way I try to handle situations in my family, the way I try to handle situations in my workplace or business, everywhere what is called for is that moral principle inside of me that I have to be very careful and very disciplined in the manner of my delivery, either through my words or through my thoughts or through my deeds. So my thoughts, my words, my deeds have to be continuously under vigilance. It has to be continuously monitored. This monitoring is the disciplining of life. If I don't discipline my life, then I will not know at what time what I said to somebody, maybe without my knowledge. At what time, I had some thoughts, because I am not monitoring my thoughts. I don't even know what kind of thoughts keep on coming in my mind, and I keep on encouraging it by being, completely not attending to it. And they gradually create a deep-seated unconscious pattern in me. I suffer. So here is a beautiful explanation that in your day-to-day way of living in life, if you are mindful, then you will be thoughtful. If you are mindful, you will have insight. Insight means your sight will not be your vision, your sight will not be outside. It will be inside. That means you will gradually develop your mind, which can see your inner environment. It can perceive what kind of thoughts are coming into your mind. If those thoughts are toxic, if those thoughts are full of jealousy, if these thoughts are full of violence or something which could be hurting, obviously it is going to create its own consequences and chains of consequences. So the ahimsa is not just non-killing. You don't kill someone. Normally, who kills? But yes, in ahimsa, what happens is this. It is more to do with our verbal violence. That's what we need to keep in mind. Our verbal violence. Our violence is this, that most often we create our karma, or we create our violence or acts of violence through our words, because we don't monitor our thoughts. Thoughts are indisciplined. Because of the indisciplined state of our thoughts, our words become indisciplined. That means we do not know what we said to somebody at some point of time. We could have said it differently. So, I mean, it is not possible for me to, kind of talk about this entire thing, but I would love you all to keep in mind that because it's a kind of a monologue, I'm just talking to you through my video, but I would love to be at the same time little interactive, and that you can do possibly if you have any questions to the point I have discussed. If you have any questions, you can write that in your chat box, and then I can immediately attend to it, or I just go on as it is as long as I wish to, and then stop it. But mind you, these particular topics that I'll be dealing with you regarding the yamas and niyamas, because I have only been trying to touch about the ahimsa, but the ahimsa can be, there are various facets of ahimsa, because there are lots of people who will ask me immediately, they say, I eat meat, I eat fish, particularly in Bengal, kind of most people are kind of non-vegetarian. They don't normally are vegetarian in their food habit. Now, obviously, one of the questions that will come to them is that because we are non-vegetarian in our food habit, don't you think that this is quite a violence that all of us are committing? And obviously, we are going to reap a lot of consequences out of it, according to your talks that you are trying to share with us. Now, my question is this. See, as I said, there are different aspects of how you look at this concept of non-violence. I personally believe that each of these different facets of life where there is some kind of violence, they need to be seen from your own perspective, of your own maturity, of your own understanding, of your own level or state of consciousness. In what level of consciousness you are. If your level of consciousness is bringing too much of biting of your consciousness or conscience for that matter, that you eat but at the same time constantly feel a sense of guilt inside, then you need to probe deeper into it. Why this guilt? Maybe do you really need a non-veg food because that's the constitutional demand of your body? Personally I know, there are people for whom a vegetarian food would be completely against his body or her body's constitution. Maybe he or she will not be able to remain healthy because the body's genetic condition may be demanding some kind of a non-veg food. I told you once a word of a great sage of India by name Nisargadatta Maharaj, who was a Advaita, kind of a Jnani. He said a beautiful word exactly about violence. He said this word: a bit of violence is inevitable in life. I 100% agree with this particular statement. I personally believe that I, you, us, none of us can live in this world, be alive even for a moment without being violent. Knowingly or unknowingly, consciously or unconsciously, wantingly or not wantingly, we are all the time, kind of hurting, killing so many insects, so many things around us all the time. Inside of us, our bacteria, our viruses, our microbes, our microorganisms, all of it, they are living organisms. So a bit of violence And violence need not necessarily be, oh, somebody walks into my room and, kind of beats me down or physically assaults or do some physical violence. No, not necessarily. The very fact that I am staying in a particular place and bang opposite there is yet another apartment, and in that apartment people come as a group and they, over a bottles of wine, they just go up into the air, shout, shrill cry, and they have their dance or whatnot. They are totally enjoying their life. But imagine what a violence it is. For all the flats around, they are not able to sleep for that one particular family who are having a gay, beautiful time with their friends, with their partying. This is also violent. But they are not coming to your home, they are not, kind of beating you or doing any physical assault or anything. But mentally you are so terribly, terribly tortured that you do not know what to do. And you can't just open your door and bang on that door and start having a quarrel with them, and when they are already drunk, they may not be able to even respect you. A bit of violence is inevitable in life. You have a landlord and you are in a rental property and he has been ill-treating you, mistreating you in such a manner, it's absolutely inhuman. How long can you continue? Violence is inevitable in life because our entire society over a period of time has moved away from the core values which govern this whole universe, that when you hurt, you will be hurt. We have forgotten this particular principle. This is a core principle. Let's try to understand this. This is a core principle. Again, if I put it this way, if I love, today or tomorrow I'll be loved. I'm talking about hurt, I'm talking about violence. If I'm non-violent, if by my thoughts I only nurture those thoughts which are only vibrations of my prayerfulness and my gratitude and my healing prayers for all of those who are suffering in this world, and as I generate these thoughts in my mind, these are non-violent thoughts. These are non-violent vibrations. Obviously, the frequencies are very high. Obviously, these high vibrational frequencies will reach far and wide and will touch and gradually change the mindsets of a lot of people who have matured enough to come to that stage, to tune in, download, and start practicing. No effort of yours to be non-violent can go in vain, because in the principle what I see is you are not wantonly trying to bother somebody, hurt somebody, cause pain to somebody. You are not, just for the heck of it, you are not doing it. Well, you are walking on the street and there was a small tiny insect there. You stepped over it and that died instantly. You have no idea you didn't see it until such time maybe you grow to a particular state one day when you'll be so careful that you cause least harm, least damage, least pain to any animals in this world, to any human beings on this particular planet Earth, or to Mother Earth in its totality of environment. You will not hurt the environment. You'll be respecting water, you'll be respecting the light, you'll be expecting the fire, you'll expect every little thing that is gifted by nature to us. And every such respect is your sign that you are non-violent. So the concept of non-violence, ahimsa, can go on and on and on in your own life, provided you start to grow in your awareness, to see all around you to what extent you can bring about a little kind of an additional value to your life, additional goodness to your life, additional, what should I say, ethical, moral vibration to your life, because that will automatically uplift not only you, because those thought vibrations will instantly create its own impact on your brain and will slow down your brain. You can't, if you're so calmed and so understanding and so pure in your vibrational frequency, you can be rest assured you will not have so much of stress hormones like cortisols over your body oozing out. It's not a possibility. Cortisols come only when, knowingly or unknowingly, we hurt somebody and somebody hurts us. Then there is some exchange of words, there is some exchange of such vibrations which may bring about some results which are not very congenial to my mind's peace and happiness. So my mind, peace and happiness is absolutely proportional to what discipline I am following in my life. What is the discipline? I'll take one question. There's a question from Dr. Nilanjana Sanyal. Baba, if the external simulation is too intense, it seems difficult to have controlled reaction despite the fact that someone is generally mindful in behavior. What is your suggestion here? Wilma, this is very simple. Fundamentally, the thing is this: we are living in a society where we need to understand that we have mostly somnambulists around us, sleepwalkers around us. We have to accept this fact to begin with. In our own family, we'll have people who are sleepwalkers. By sleepwalkers, I mean unmindful about their words, unmindful about their thoughts, unmindful about their deeds. Now, by their thoughts, by their deeds, by their words, what they are doing in the state of deep sleep, of their slumber, of their unconsciousness, you can't in any way keep on, trying to impose on others, do this, do this, do this, do like this, do like this. At one point you'll find that it's all self-defeating, because in correcting somebody else, you are losing a lot of your mental poise or your mental balance or your mental happiness. What can you do then? Your question is exactly that. When all these are coming from outside, the harmful, hurtful, damaging, miserable things are coming from outside. What do I do if I want to be non-violent in my own thought, deed and actions? It's very simple. Fundamentally, as I said, Atha Yoga Anusasanam. If, according to this great sage Patanjali Rishi, what he says is that first and foremost, decide this: do you need the discipline of yoga? If you need the discipline of yoga, then forget about others. Forget about what others are doing to you. Because to begin with, you cannot always expect everything outside of you to be according to your wishes and desires, to be according to your congenial pattern to practice yoga. That is not a possibility. You can't do that. But then what can you do? You can do this much, that you bring about the first concept of Yama. That's the reason he talks in the sadhana pada, that is the sadhana practice part. He talks about the first is Yama. That means your self-discipline. You are not disciplining others, because the moment you are trying to discipline others, others become more violent. They become more aggressive. They become more threatful, because you are trying to change them and they are not ready for it. People who are not ready to change, if you try to change them, you are inviting more problems than ever. That's my own personal experience in life. Then my question is this: if that is the case, do I just keep on accepting it? No, you are not to keep on accepting it. You have to do two things. First, practice ahimsa. That means practice non-violence in your attitude. What is that? To understand this much, that the other person is definitely not in the vibrational frequency of yours. That person or that person's particular mindset has not yet elevated enough to understand the principle of non-violence. That means if I hurt, I will be hurt. If the other person knew this theory, he or she would have practiced it. He doesn't know. She doesn't know. When the other persons do not know this deepest philosophy of non-violence, then what can I do? I cannot impose it to that other person. What I can personally do is that first try to bring in lot more discipline to my own personal life and increase my inner practice of self-discipline. This is where Yama Niyama is essential, most important. Your yoga asanas and pranayamas will help you. Your yoga asanas and pranayamas will help you. Your meditation will help you to what? To this self-discipline. Automatically, all of this will work on your hormones. All of this will work on your entire mindset in your brain over a period of time. So you will automatically become more mindful. So you know why the other person is behaving like this, why this character is now built like this, because over a period of time, when this person's character is like this, it started long back when he started using abusive, violent words. And those words over a period of time turned into actions. And those actions over a period of time started to become a habit. That person is that habitual pattern. And over a period of time, that habit has become that character. And don't forget, if that particular person's character is like that, his destiny or her destiny is set. You can't change it. So the best thing that you can do is to bring the searchlight over you. You bring the focus into you. You know that if this moment is my last moment, if today is my last day of my life in this planet, then I have only 24 hours in my hand, and during these 24 hours, let me see what's the best things that I can do. And there you will find that you will have unique ideas in your mind, and you will be so easily forgiving everybody for their errors and mistakes and omissions and everything. And you'll be so easily uplifted into a state wherein you are not only naturally non-violent, but at the same time appreciative of many things that happen into your life. My only submission is this: if you really want to create an environment of peace, instead of too much of retaliation, resistance and reactions, first let the disciplining of one's own mind begin little deeper than it is, because let us never forget that what external situations and circumstances we find ourselves into is part of our destiny. Who are the people who are around me in my family is a part of my destiny. These people have not dropped from sky or any trees. They have all come into my life because there are some settlements to be done between these souls. These souls owe each other some debts. Maybe happiness, maybe unhappiness, maybe hurt, maybe love. Whatever the families or the people you know or the society in which you move, all of this, they have all come into your life by the pull of your destiny, by the pull of your destined fate, or bhagya as it is called. So here my point is this: let's think it this way, that for a while will be hissing, as Sri Ramakrishna put it so well in that beautiful story, kind of that there was a snake, and the sadhu comes, and he comes to realize that this snake has been so very violent and doing so much harm to these entire villagers. He comes and tells this snake, look here, you are too violent, and there's no need to be so violent. Try to follow non-violence and do these things. This snake was very, kind of ready to accept the sadhu's words, and he started practicing it. Over a period of time, when we used to come to maybe bask in the sun, the children, while playing, they thought that this snake is not doing harming or anything, it's just lying. So they start to throw stones, and over a period of time, they just find that this snake is absolutely not harmless. It's not doing anything, absolutely non-violent. So they start taking this root and eat it on the ground, and the body is broken and everything. Now, over a period of time, this sadhu once again comes at the turn of a year and finds that this snake is inside the cave, unfed, totally starved, and almost dying, and says, what's wrong with you? This sadhu asks, and the snake replies that, look here, you asked me to be non-violent, and I have been absolutely true to you, or literally, I didn't do anything, and look, what's my plight? So if the result of non-violence is this, then what is the truth? Truth is this. The sadhu tells that particular snake, look here, I asked you not to bite. You were biting. That was violence. I asked you not to bite, but I never asked you not to hiss. Because if you hiss, everybody will be absolutely fearful of you, and they'll be in their own space, and you'll be in your own space. But you don't have to harm in order to be alive. There are so many things for you in this forest, for you to eat. Why do you unnecessarily disturb the humans here? So here it is. We must know where to hiss, how much to hiss, to what extent to go, and to what extent to restrain Yama, to what extent to Niyaman. That means I am trying to inner discipline myself more and more and more. As a result, I don't want to see some immediate results that I am practicing this, I am seeing the immediate. No. First, let me keep on practicing it. My yoga asanas must be regular. Rising from bed in the morning, early hours must be regular. Going to bed right in time, not too late, must be regular. My time with my news feed and other screen time has to be reduced. The association of my mind with what I put most of the time has to be very controlled and restrained and beautiful. And as a result, as I nurture more and more of this elevated, profound thoughts, I create inside of me a cocoon of my own, where I know that I can just at any point of time take myself in. That is meditative process. We'll come to it later. But here, Yama only tells us to be more mindful, more alive to the moment, so that any moment anyone is trying to hurt you, double check to ignore or to hiss. To ignore or to hiss. You can ignore it completely, being indifferent, or you could possibly hiss. That means you could possibly give a reply that just that moment demands, without nurturing inside of you any thought of violence. By that I mean, inside of you there should not be that intention to bite. That if you are doing it, I'll bite you. No. If you are doing it, I'll not bite you. Because you can be bad, but I cannot be worse. You can be bad to me. That doesn't mean that you are prompting me, you are simulating me to doing what? To be worse. No way. Because I am going to be responsible for my karma. And I have to answer for my karma, not your karma. You will be called for to answer for your bad, hurtful karmas, but I will not be asked. I will be asked for the karmas that I do in response to, reactions to others in this world. I will be judged on the basis of my words. I will be judged on the basis of my thoughts. I will be judged on the basis of my actions and deeds. This is karma. So in order to keep my karma as much as possible good, pure, in order to enjoy my inner peace, my inner quiet, my inner equipoise, I need to definitely accept this first discipline of Patanjali under Yama, that is non-violence. I think for today I'll gradually take this to the end of today's session with a bhajan. But before I finish it up, I would love to have questions from each one of you who would possibly have a very relevant question to this subject, Ahimsa. Next session, it will be question answers on Ahimsa. Okay? It will be question answers on Ahimsa. So that one day we just have a talk on Ahimsa, next day we take question answer on Ahimsa. So that way we can just kind of elaborate the process of understanding as to how we can live in this world, knowing fully well that a bit of violence is inevitable in life. Knowing fully well that a bit of violence is inevitable of life, obviously excused by the universe, because without that we cannot survive. Even when we tear and pluck fruits from the trees, it pains, they have emotions, as we have, it's proved. My point is, a bit of violence is inevitable in life, but let us not be violent, being unmindful, being unaware, being unconscious, being in a state of avidya, self-forgetful. So the practice of meditation, so the practice of Yama, so the practice of Hatha Yoga, of asanas and pranas, and first and foremost I start with the same word, end with the same word. Discipline my life. I discipline my life because if my life is disciplined from morning till night, I have lived the day well, earned the day's wage well, and it is absolutely fantastic. I enjoyed it thoroughly, so I go to bed with a beautiful gratitude in my heart and my forehead touching the feet of my Sadguru, my Gurudev, and says, Gurudev, you have been so kind to me, so loving. You are always with me. I just love you and I know how much you love me. So with this, we will just do a small little bhajan and then end. Today we will do that Mahanam, Tarak Brahma Mahanam, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is one of the most powerful mantras. So we just chant that, and for those who may not be understanding in these words, I can only tell you, there's no words in it other than the divine name. This is like divine. This is like the divine name. So you can be rest assured that we are only chanting the divine name, and the divine name is always inseparable from the divine. When I am saying Krishna, it is inseparable from Krishna. So Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. By Hare means Hare is one who is the one who steals, takes away, removes all the pain and suffering of my life. He who takes away that primary thing which creates all suffering, separation between me and my God. That veil of separation from me and God, that is being removed by Sri Hari. So Hari is Haran, is stealing away, is taking away, is removing that veil over my eyes which doesn't allow me to see the reality that God is part and parcel of me and I am part and parcel of God. We two make one, and that one is the ultimate reality. So we'll start with that. Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,